Welcome, everyone, to the RLT Pivot Podcast. My name is Tracy, and I'm one of your hosts today. I am joined with my co host, Dan Jansen. And today we are going to be talking about blowing up your account and what is next. Now, before we get started, just a reminder that the chat is live. So please throw your questions in there and let us know what you're thinking. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Dan, how's it going, man?
Very pixelated today. Very pixelated on on my video. That's all right. Well, like we were here for like 20 minutes prior, no pixelation, but the way of the world. That's what happens. So
Yeah, Dan's been having some technical difficulties. So we are going to be talking about blowing up your account and what to do next. Now, I'd like to know if you guys are listening right now, how many people have blown up an account? If you're willing to share, I'm sure that lots of people have. It's a common problem within the industry. What are your thoughts, Dan? You still with me?
yeah, so with blowing up the account, it's an interesting thing because it does happen a lot, especially to new traders that come in, or people that just don't take for two reasons: people that just don't take the right education or enough education, and then you have people that are just greedy. And I think those are really the most two common factors. So even with the education, they'll learn something, they'll learn a setup, whatever the case, and then they're just not protecting their risk. It's a one way street of thinking. So with that way of thinking, you're literally like, if this it's not if it's when this trade works, I'm going to make $20,000. It's going to be a great trade, but they don't ever really think about, or they're aware of, but they don't really consider too much, or realize and kind of make that the loss a reality as well of, well, the trade could go the other way too. And then what happens? And then a lot of times you get the trade that should have worked didn't work, and now you're on tilt a little bit, and you're like, I need to make that money back, so you're going in heavier on the second trade to follow up that first trade. So I think those are some of the most common mistakes. But it's the interesting is what happens after somebody blows up the account. You have the ability at that point as a trader to say, all right, well, the market's not for me, everybody's right, it's everybody loses money in the market, that's how it is. Or you keep at it, you learn, and then that's how you end up kind of learning from your mistakes, and learn to grow your accounts.
Okay, well, so I'm a firm believer in prevention. Okay, so number one, full disclosure, I have never blown an account, and that's me. Okay, I know that's not the case for many people, but I'm curious to know, do you think that there's a psychological component to it that actually makes people trade differently? Like, and what I mean by that is, as a doctor, if you were learning to become a doctor, you wouldn't just take a knife and start cutting people. There's a level of proficiency and competency that you would
That wouldn't be called a doctor, that's a murderer. Correct.
yeah, but you get
This
my
is
point, right? I mean, there's a
right.
specific level of competency that you would do before you actually call yourself a doctor, right? Or call yourself a dentist. And why is that not present within trading? Why is there not a level of competency that people need to get to before they actually consider themselves a trader and actually pull the trigger? I'm just curious if there's some psychological component. Do we think that it's just less important? What are your thoughts
Yeah,
on that?
it's a good interesting topic. It's very psychological, to say the least, as far as the mentality behind why somebody would do anything else in their life. Try to take. I mean, if you do become a doctor, a legal doctor, then at that point you're going through elementary school, high school, college, med school, master's, whatever the case. You're in school for a long time before you're even able to prescribe a drug to somebody.
Mhm.
But now you've worked hard for your money. You've built up a small amount, a medium amount, a large amount, whatever the case is, and you're going into the market. I think a lot of it has to do with just kind of how the market itself is perceived. So a lot of people coming into the market, they've watched The Wolf of Wall Street, they've watched Wall Street with Charlie Sheen. They've seen all of the connotation of all these wealthy people being in the market and making tons of money. So when they come into the market with $20,000 or $50,000 or whatever the case is, and they're only making $200-300 per trade, it just feels wrong. It feels like you're not doing something correct.
Yeah.
And I think that mentality of not being able to have the foresight of if I keep doing this and keep growing the account, I'm gonna have
Yeah, what Dan's saying is totally true. I, as an example, I mean, I've been training for a long time, and I am consistently profitable at this point. But it still psychologically drives me nuts to see individuals that are new, that don't know what they're doing, that can hit those grand slams, and all of a sudden, they're making big bucks. But the key to that is the fact that's not, it's not sustainable. You can't do it for long term. You can't get lucky multiple times over and over and over again. Yet there has to be some sort of level of proficiency and education that you have to get to. Now, Dan, you can continue your thought. I think you're back now.
yeah. The other thing too is I think you have peer pressure in the
Yeah.
market, even though you might be in the room by yourself, hitting the buttons by yourself. We just saw the whole thing unfold with the Dogecoin, right?
Mhm.
You see people on Facebook posting all day, "Hey, I just made so much money. Went from 0.02 cents to 70 cents," and they keep posting as it was going. That person on the other end of Facebook is reading it. They're like, "Oh man, everybody's making money on this thing. Let me start getting in." Uh, Elon's on SNL. This is the perfect time to hop right into the Dogecoin, and they're going in too heavy because now they feel like they're behind and everybody else is winning. It's a guarantee, and you have that guarantee mindset of just I'm gonna hop in at the wrong time. And again, a lot of people, unfortunately, in that situation are not educated on what the actual what even a crypto market is, what the Doge is. People calling it the doggy coin, the doggy coin. So like there's a lot of just non-information or just unwilling to learn or not even knowing where to find that information.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of Todd just crushed the market, so I could do the same thing and I'm going to go in, and you just have that fear of missing out scenario too. And I think again it comes into that greed aspect of things.
Mhm.
um, and I think that's a lot of reason why people just want to come in, they just want to kill the market. Losing is not.
Losing's not an option. Exactly.
Yep.
You're back. Are you back?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm
Finish your
here.
thought. You got cut off.
No, I don't know which part, but yeah, it's just the mentality again of just everybody else is hitting that gold rush, and now you're going to go search for the gold yourself. And usually by the time you get there, everyone else already took all the gold, so
Yeah, for
you're just
sure.
showing up to an empty cave at that point.
For sure. Now, you said something earlier about tuition and stuff like that, that it costs you so much money to become a doctor, lawyer, et cetera. And that's the case with traders as well. Obviously, I don't think that blowing up an account is necessarily needed to pay your tuition. I think that I think that if you have a budget set aside, maybe a lot, just a certain amount that you can trade, and have that extra as contingency, so that you have the whole account for the duration. How long should it take a person to really get comfortable and start to gain profitability if they're trading regularly, so that they can actually take that, whatever their income is or the budget that they have to trade with, and actually space that out for that duration to count it as their tuition? What would you say? 6 months, a year, 2 years of money?
I, I think I think it's a loaded question.
Okay.
I do think that it does vary for every person, and just because I say, "Hey, I'm trading like this is month one of me trading, and I just finished month one," that might count as a real month one. I was sitting there looking at the markets. I was back trading at nighttime. I was taking educational videos. I was talking to mentors, or I was just watching the market, trying to take a trade here and there. And I total put in 5 hours of work. So it's not so much the time frame; it's what you do during that time frame.
Fair enough.
And if you're able to really manage that time correctly and just continue to learn, the learning never stops. So I don't want to say like by this certain point you've graduated.
Yeah. All right. So, as far as now that I guess we've covered a few issues of why you would actually blow up an account, let's talk about what we do after you blow up an account. And I'm going to say this for blowing up the account as well as losses, because I think they're tied hand in hand. Both of them create a psychological feeling inside. And I think the first thing that everybody needs to do when they've experienced a big loss or whether they've blown up their account is to get a reset. And that means that you need to take a little break. Don't jump into another trade. You need to get those emotions back in check and settle yourself down. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, so I think that's right. So you're gonna go through when you do blow up an account, there is a certain emotional aspect to it. The first one is the market got me, and you just start blaming the market and blaming the other people on the side,
Hmm.
and then you get a little self doubt, I think, with it as well. Like, man, I don't apparently I don't know how to trade. It's just impossible. Nobody wins type situation. But the real mentality of what you should be saying is, well, where did I make a mistake and how do I fix it? Like,
Yeah.
how am I able to correct that? What did I do wrong? And I think that's a sign of take the market slower. Like, you have your entire life to figure out how to trade, how to be successful. So just take your time on it and just kind of learn the market and learn the setups. And that should be an unfortunate way to find that message out, but it is probably the message that you would get from blowing up the account. And the people that come back from that, they're the ones that are typically successful later in life,
Hmm.
doing being a trader or doing anything. The ability to bounce back and say, "Cool, let me figure it out." Or you have the people that quit, and unfortunately, those are the people that could have done really well in the market, but they just threw the towel in and gave up on themselves, the market, the whole situation, and kind of moved on. So it is important what you do after.
Yeah, absolutely. So number one is to take that reset. So take a quick little break. Make sure that your emotions are in check because that's the worst place that you can be in. The second thing that we would suggest is that you need to forget about the losses because the minute you start to think, okay, well, I need to get this back, that puts you in a frame of mind that's going to be chasing. It's going to put you into a panic. It's going to set perhaps an unrealistic goal for you, and that needs to just be set aside. At some point, if you can master what you're doing, you will eventually get those losses back. But if that's the focus of why you're trading, it's going to create more of a problem. You're behind the eight ball, and you're always going to be feeling like you're running to catch up. So I would definitely do that. And yes, if you have blown up your account and your wife doesn't know about it, as Mike says, you better stop at the florist and pick up some flowers for her because she might be a little ticked when you get home. So yeah, the next thing that I would say, and you've kind of touched on it already, Dan, a little bit, but don't give up. That is probably one of the biggest things that I think is really tragic, is that a lot of people enter the markets, they're they're not educated, they give it a shot, but they don't give it the time that it's needed. First of all, to invest in themselves to get good at something, or for the markets to actually perform. They don't give it enough time. They've put too much pressure on it. And I used to be an apprentice, and one of my instructors used to say all the time, first of all, that you get good, then you get fast. And that was something that stuck with me in the last 30 years. I've remembered that. But the other thing that he used to say is that as an apprentice, as somebody that you're learning, you go from the point where you don't know anything to a point where you know something and just enough that you're now dangerous. And it's that stage where you really have to be careful what you're doing, because it's that stage where you're going to blow up accounts, you're going to end up mortgaging your house, you're going to end up getting yourself into a financial hole. It's that stage that you need to get through to the point where you now know enough and you're no longer dangerous. You know enough and now you can work safely and competently. Okay, so that's the stage that you need to get past. So don't give up. And the other thing that I wanted to point out too is all of these losses and all of these mistakes, they're only mistakes if you don't learn from them. And that's the key. So with every loss, if you're able to take a step back, reset, learn something, figure out what did you do, and then apply some new rules, apply a new trading plan, whatever it might be, and then move forward and keep pressing onwards, that is a success in and of itself. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree. My question to you is: do you think blowing up an account is much different psychology, like thought process wise, as far as or the same thing as if you just take big losses in the market? So you didn't blow up your account, you still have your account. Are you still thinking the same way? Is your emotions still the same way? Because there are some people that haven't blown up accounts, but we've seen big pullbacks in the market, things like that. People get discouraged. Do you think that's the same type of thought process that then kind of creeps in at that point to somebody maybe even successful trading for years?
I think that it depends. It depends on whether that loss was expected or planned. So if you were leveraged in a position that you were expecting that if you did lose, it was going to be a big loss and you just don't like it, right? Versus taking a big loss because you didn't follow your rules, you broke your plan, you were being undisciplined, doing all of that thing. I think that ties into blowing up an account. I think it's just the stair step in that direction. And depending on who you are and how well you react to that type of stimulus, I guess. Yes, I think it plays on the same emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that we did see obviously 20 from March to pretty much January, the market's just nonstop rip. And then from pretty much January till maybe May, beginning of May, something like that, there was just kind of choppy markets. People were losing trades. People holding long term.
Yeah, holding long-term positions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Continue. You fell off at the long-term stuff.
It's I am a zombie, so that's why. But so so yeah, as far as like those um different pullbacks in the market, again, it's you go from win to now like lose. And the interesting part is even during that time from March of 2020 up until January, just massive rips, profits, all of this stuff. And then the pullback wasn't even that severe, but people were still losing. So they were still up technically for the last 18 months. They're still in the positive. But bit of a pullback, you could tell it kind of messed with some traders' mentality toward trading and just kind of motions and how they approach the next trade that they take. So I do see that. So I think there were some similarities. The main difference, obviously, if you blow up an account, you have to put more money into an account to be able to trade again. Where if you don't blow up an account, you can still come back, but you have to still kind of reset your mind to how to trade correctly as opposed to everything just wins. And
Right.
and I think there's a big difference there.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, if it wasn't for my risk tolerance, I probably would have blown up an account at some point. I mean, I don't know. I just know that because I've had losses and I've had losing streaks, and what ends up happening is I get loser after loser after loser, and I instinctively want to protect my capital. So what ends up happening is I just reduce my R to just about nothing, and until I can start getting that confidence back, and until I can start trading without that psychological um, trauma that's associated with the big losses, and getting on the right side of things. So it's stopping the bleeding per se. So that's what I end up doing to keep myself from losing an account or blowing up an account is that triage while I'm actually trading. And I think the difference between the way that I think versus somebody that ends up blowing up an account is perhaps that need to get back the losses, right? I'm thinking about stopping the bleeding, and somebody that might be blowing up an account might be thinking, I need to get it back. I need to get it back. I need to get it back. I'm not 100% sure because again, that's just a speculation that I'm making. But would you think that would be something that makes sense?
I do. I think a lot of it is one, you hold on to a loss for too long because you're just never wrong, right? If you get into the trade expecting to be wrong, you would not take that trade. Zero chance.
Yeah.
So because you have that mentality of, hey, I'm right. This is the greatest setup I've ever seen. You just let it slip, and then eventually your account is damaged to a loss that was beyond what you were thinking or expecting, and you were thinking you were going to win on the trade in the first place. So it's a really big blow to ego and account.
Yeah.
But with the after that point, the next trade or the next couple trades, it does become I need to make my money back.
Hmm.
I need to. I was at XYZ amount. I'm down now. I need to get back. I gotta either take trades that are not part of my plan, or just be extra aggressive, either by waiting for longer targets to hit, or by putting more than a normal standard unit of risk onto that trade.
Hmm.
So those are the ways that people do it. And again, if you might hit a trade, you might come back, but now you also your mentality of how you were trading has been offset, and you have to kind of take a break from it, kind of analyze yourself a little bit, look at your plan a little bit, review those trades, and then just say, if I keep trading like this, there's a good shot that I do blow up my account or
Yeah.
it's gone.
Yeah.
But if you reset yourself, you just know that it doesn't matter how much money you have in the account. You can always get back to that. Just do it the correct way as you were doing it before. Learn from the mistake. Try not to let those trades slip. The ones that you had X amount of risk and now you're down so much because you couldn't find it in your heart to get out of the trade.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing I wanted to point out that this happens in everything. It's not just trading. There is a point where, like I played sports. It's no mystery. I've said this before, but I remember playing hockey regularly over and over and over again, and I'd play many days a week, and I'd get to a place where my body almost got burnt out. And I think you can do that with trading as well. And you start to not play at the best performance. You start to lower your skill set, and taking a break and then coming back. I always found that break, when I came back, my body recovered and I was better than what I was when I left. And I think that that's important. It plays well into trading as well. When you take that break, you reset, you come back with fresh eyes, it can make a world of difference. So Dan, did you want anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. I think taking the break and in the trading world, I would say not so much take a break and just leave forever, and then 6 months later come back. Use that time that you're taking a break to learn different setups.
Mhm.
Go back test, back trade, learn your strategy, understand why you took the losses that made you want to take a break in the first place, or why you blew up your account, and just figure out how to adjust that. The other thing with blowing up your account is, like I said earlier, it's a lot of, no matter what you do for work, and maybe you're trading because you hate your job, you don't really want to do that 9 to 5 anymore, you're not making enough money, your bills are stacking up, your income's coming, you get laid off from a job, coronavirus 7.0 hits, and now you can't do your thing anymore. So a lot of getting into trading is like, I'm going to trade because I need to make money. I personally trade not to make money, but I love trading. Like, there's a huge difference in that. So I
Mhm.
love sitting there and watching the charts, and you got all the news coming in and different aspects of the market, and how they all intertwine with each other. I love that aspect of it. So I love being there, and because of that, the money comes from that.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people get in because they
Because they want the money. They're striving for the money. The money is the goal, and I completely agree with you. Now, I want to touch on something else that Dan said earlier, about being right. Now, this can lead to a lot of losses and a lot of mistakes, and I hear it a lot. And I wanted to just clarify it. Number one, if you are actually analyzing the market, if you are going in and saying, okay, this is what I think, this is kind of the fail point, I'm assessing the charts, I'm coming up with a plan. There is nothing guaranteed in the market. It is all based on odds, statistics. Okay. So the reality is, if you set up a plan and you say, okay, I'm going to get in here, and if this happens, great. If this doesn't happen, then I don't want to be in it. This is where it fails. And I promise you, no matter what, you're right, because you assessed it, you analyzed it, and you put in your entry, your exit, your stops. You put in the plan. You determined where this trade fails, where it doesn't fail, what you want to see when it is going in your favor, and when it's not going in your favor. That is right. You are right whether you win that trade or lose that trade, because what you say either works, or what you said doesn't work. So just remember that, and maybe do a little switch in your brain if you're struggling with recognizing that, hey, I want to be right, and you're getting stuck, and putting that vision tight into that focus, and saying, no, I'm right, it's going to be right, and you're trying to will that trade to do what you want it to do. The fact is, if you've assessed it already and you've analyzed it and you've determined where it fails and where it doesn't, you're already right. Right. So let's keep that in mind. Dan, anything else to add?
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's losing trades. There's trades that don't make you money,
Exactly.
but there's failing your own personal trading plan. And if you understand that, and it took me a while to kind of understand that concept, because I would get into a trade, I lose money on the trade, I'm like, that's a losing trade. But no, the trade didn't work out. The main thing that I
It's absolutely true. That's exactly it. So, basically, we have covered, not to give up, taking a break, learning from your mistakes. The other thing is, if you have blown up an account, ask yourself if you actually have a trading plan. And then the other thing is, you need to back trade and practice that trading. We've talked about this since the beginning of our podcast. We've given you tidbits and suggestions and little things of how to be successful. But if you are experiencing big losses, or if you've experienced blowing up an account, take a look, approach this as a business, come up with a plan, treat it like you would anything else. Give the respect that it deserves, right? And with that, what you deserve. Dan, are you back with me?
I'm here. I'm here.
Perfect. Perfect,
Awesome.
perfect, perfect. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you said earlier is not to give up. No matter what you're doing, if you love trading, if you love money, there's a you could be in the market, you could get a better paying job, go to your boss, ask for a raise, take on a second job. There's a ton of ways to make more money. That's not the issue. There's literally everybody that I personally know is like, we can't find anybody to work. Nobody wants to work anymore. Like, there's jobs. If you love money, go get one. If you love the markets, if you like actually trading, if you like the excitement of it, the risk analysis of it, being able to grow your account, not only will you enjoy what you actually do, but you'll make more money being a trader than you'll make anywhere else, any other job. So don't worry about the money aspect of it. Learn to love trading, actually love trading, and get as much knowledge to be there. If you're at that point, then don't give up. The only thing that's standing in your way of being a successful trader is yourself.
Exactly.
The fact that you don't want to put time into it, and that's realistically the only thing that really holds people back from that of pretty much breaking their own rules as far as the trading plan goes, and not being able to just
Exactly. Know that you want this, go after it, and know that you deserve it. And that's really the way that it is, right? Dan, you with me?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right, very cool. So I think the two things that we really learned today: one, don't blow up your account. Maybe three things. One, don't blow up your account. Number two, don't quit. And number three, don't steal your neighbor's internet. And that's the main three things that I think I've personally learned today.
Oh, Dan. Dan, you got to stop stealing the neighbor's internet. They don't appreciate
I know.
it. Yeah.
If they don't
It's not
secure it.
it's not good. All right, folks. Well, I think we're going to call it a day. That's about it for blowing up your account. Feel free to reach out to us, either one of us. You can reach me at Tracy at reallifetrading.com, or you can reach Dan at reallifetrading.com. Send us a message if you're struggling. Both of us are mentors. We do take students that are struggling. We do take students that are new. So if you're looking and you want to talk to one of us, reach out. We'd be happy to sit down with you, come up with a plan, and help you recover from this. Dan, you want to take us home?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, where's the like button on this thing? Where's the like button? Now we need some more likes. Hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the Real Life Trading YouTube channel. Also check out reallifetrading.com for 100% free education. Learn the markets, and come join with us live during trading hours. Next week is a very special episode. I cannot wait to see all you guys next week. It's going to be an incredible topic. Tracy, awesome co-hosting with you again, and you literally are finishing my sentences. Can't get better than that. All right, team. Love you guys. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. See you guys
Cheers.
later.